Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're finally going into match day number 2. Alright, so after all this time, we're finally getting into deeper matches. But match day number 2 is going to be, the opening is just going to be 3 matches. So I guess it's a bit light. So let's head on right with it. But for disclosures first, if I am pronouncing some of these names or words wrong, you guys can point it out or just look in the description down below, because I'm going to put all of the players' names and the coaches as well. So, Canada, Switzerland, Bosnia, basically all those matches are going to be in tomorrow's match day. 3 big games. Alright. So, Canada are looking to bounce back after a disappointing draw. Qatar suddenly believe they can compete with anybody after stunning Switzerland. Switzerland must respond. Bosnia are proving to be one of the toughest teams to break down. And finally, we've got a blockbuster showdown between Mexico and South Korea. Could decide the Group A winner. So, let's dive straight at it. At match number 1, we have Canada versus Qatar. Let's start with it. Coming into this tournament, Canada looked like one of the strongest teams outside at the traditional favorites. But their opening match against Bosnia raised a lot of questions. Canada dominated possession, they controlled the midfield, they created opportunities, yet they could only manage a draw, 1-1. The biggest disappointment was the attack. Jonathan David and Tani Oluwaseyi struggled to break down Bosnia's defensive block, despite spending most of the game in dangerous positions. Canada's overall rating dropped from an 82 to a 74 because of that performance. The good news, the midfield remains excellent. Ismaël Koné and Stefan Eustáquio still control the game and should do the same here. Now let's talk about Qatar. Nobody expected them to take a point from Switzerland, yet they did exactly that. Qatar defended with incredible discipline and showed tremendous character. Goalkeeper Mahmoud Abunada recovered from an early mistake and became one of the heroes of the match. Defender Boualem Khoukhi delivered a captain's performance and scored the dramatic late equalizer. However, Qatar spent most of that match defending. Against another possession-heavy team like Canada, they'll likely be forced into a similar strategy. The difference is that Canada's attackers should have learned from their mistakes. I expect a much more aggressive and clinical performance. So, my predictions, I'll still be leaning towards Canada. 2-1 against Qatar, Canada wins. The goals might come from Jonathan David or Cyle Larin. And Qatar's scorer might come from Akram Afif. Yeah, Akram Afif. I think that's how you pronounce it, but I'm not sure. So, let's get on right into the second match. Now we move to Switzerland against Bosnia. This is one of the most fascinating tactical battles of match day 2. Switzerland enters the game frustrated. Against Qatar, they completely dominated possession. They dominated territory, they dominated chances, yet somehow they walk away with only a point. Their attack rating dropped significantly after failing to convert opportunities. The concern for a Swiss fan is simple. Can they actually finish their chances? Because if they can, this team remains extremely dangerous. Their midfield remains one of the strongest in the group. Granit Xhaka continues to control the game. Denis Zakaria provides the balance. And the Swiss structure remains very difficult to play against. But Bosnia are becoming the surprise package. They held Canada to a draw despite being under constant pressure. Goalkeeper Nikola Vasilj was outstanding. The defensive organization was superb, and Bosnia showed a willingness to suffer together as a team. The problem is that defending for 90 minutes every game isn't suitable. Eventually, mistakes happen, eventually, gaps appear. Switzerland have too much quality to be denied again. I think Bosnia makes things difficult, but the Swiss finally find the finishing touch they were missing on against Qatar. So my prediction, I'd still have to lean against Switzerland. Switzerland wins 2-1 against Bosnia. And the goals, they might come from Breel Embolo or Ndoye. And for Bosnia scored, it might come from Ermedin Demirović. And let's head up to our third match and the last match. And that last match is Mexico versus South Korea. People's opinions say that this might be the biggest match of the day. Mexico versus South Korea. This game could decide who tops Group A. Mexico very impressive in their opening victory over South Africa. They controlled possession, controlled the tempo, and looked dangerous throughout the match. Raúl Jiménez and Julián Quiñones led the attack brilliantly. Mexico currently holds the highest team rating among these 4A group sides. But there is one major issue. Defender Cesar Montes is suspended. That suspension removes Mexico's defensive leader and creates uncertainty at the back. And that's exactly the kind of weaknesses South Korea loves to attack. South Korea comes back, wins against Czechia, showed why they are one of the most dangerous counter-attacking teams in the tournament. Son Heung-min was sensational. The attack received an incredible rating of 95 out of 100 after Matchday 1. Whenever South Korea gets space in transition, they become lethal. However, they also showed defensive vulnerabilities. They conceded from a set piece. Their goalkeeper remains a concern. And against Mexico's attacking movements, those weaknesses could be exposed again. This feels like the classic battle between possession football and explosive counter-attacking football. Mexico will dominate the ball. South Korea will look for moments of transition through Son. Both teams have enough quality to hurt each other, which is why I think we're about to witness one of the most entertaining games of the group stage, other than the other two that I've just mentioned before. So for the prediction, I'd say I have to lean to Mexico. 2-2 though. Lean to Mexico if they're lucky. But if they're not, everything is even. I'd say they'd be a draw. But if I had to choose over luck, I'd say it'd go to Mexico. The goals might come from Raúl Jiménez, Julián Quiñones, and from South Korea, I'd say it's from Son Heung-min or Hwang Hee-chan. My final predictions for everything: Canada 2-1 against Qatar, Switzerland 2-1 against Bosnia and Herzegovina, and for Mexico, I'd say it's a draw against South Korea. Well, those are my predictions for Matchday 2. I did mention South Africa versus Czechia in the other video, like before this one. I do have to say South Africa plays a bit physical. I mean, they like to push around, and you can clearly see that matchup against Mexico at Matchday 1. So, can Canada finally show why they entered the tournament so highly rated? Can Bosnia continue their incredible defensive run? And who comes out at top the blockbuster clash between Mexico and South Korea? Drop your predictions in the comments below. If you enjoyed these videos that I'm making right now, the analysis, all the predictions, leave a like and subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of my World Cup videos that I'll be uploading every single day. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the very next day of Match Day 2.